What is a fictional universe that would be great to live in theory, but suck in actuality? Pokemon. It's all fun and games until a sandcastle sucks your soul. Just carry around a ton of Pokeballs and throw them at any Pokemon that endangers you as you run away. It will keep it busy and you might get lucky enough to get a new Pokemon. I'd say that's a good idea, but Pokeballs are expensive. Basic Pokeballs are 200 Pokédollars, implying they get the rate from the Japanese yen. That's only about $2. Dragon Ball. You could be minding your business and some random bad guy just blows up the planet. Not again. Saw one video on YouTube from Anime America, I think. Something like top 10 worst anime universes to live in. Number 1 was Dragon Ball, because after you defeat one threat to the world, another one appears next week. Not really. The last major threat to Earth was Buu and he only appeared after a good 7 years of no threats. Before that there was Cell and the androids who took 3-4 years to show up from the threats from even before that, which was the Saiyans. Honestly, I'd take a world threat every 5 years if it meant I got the chance to fly and shoot lasers from my hands. Star Trek. There are so many ways to die on a starship, it's practically a design flaw, and that's without running into a Romulan warbird or a Borg cube. Stay on Earth. We see the Star Trek Earth many times, so it exists. Still not safe. Earth is attacked, saved at the last minute many times. Exactly. Earth is almost destroyed by Xindi, Vega, Whale Probe, Borg invasion, twice, Scimitar, Nero, Control. Doctor Who. Great if you're his partner, but not so great for anyone living on any of the planets he has to come save. Civilian casualties occur and his main focus is saving himself and his partners. For anyone who doesn't know, the episode Turn Left shows what the world would be like if the Doctor died. Basically, it lets you see how much it'd suck to live in that universe if anything ever happened to the Doctor. Spoiler alert. It's not fun. Harry Potter. It seems fun and all to do magic, and don't get me wrong, I would love to go Wingardium Leviosa and be able to apparate and all that. But when you think about it, you have a high chance of dying. I mean, even with Voldemort gone, they learn magic to fight people who misuse it. Harry Potter's universe is strange. They have magic, but they don't have a proper science. They be like, I guess you just say those words and wiggle the stick and it happens. They don't try to figure out why. Also, they don't share their knowledge with the rest of the world and don't try to learn much. Living in what looks like early 19th century. What is their spells could cure cancer or something? Also, why regular people scientists could not discover magic properties of some materials, or in some kids? It looks like a major conspiracy to keep the whole world blind to reality. It's pretty dark from this perspective. In real life, that's because J.K. Rowling didn't want to take away from the wonder by explaining everything with science. Best not to make that classic midichlorians mistake. In universe, however, it makes no sense. In real life, that's because J.K. Rowling didn't want to take away from the wonder by explaining everything with science. All she needed to do was say oh, and that is the department of working out how this it all works. Those guys are huge nerds. And they talk about positronic reverberations and the universal soul at parties until you just want to cyanide. That's what I took from the idea of the Department of Mysteries. Like, I mean, the workers there are called unspeakables and they seem to study the weirdest and most magical aspects of the world. Pokemon. Because even though the closest city is like a minute away, you can't walk there without at least 5 different people challenging you to a Pokemon battle. Apparently it's just an honor thing, saying trainers have to battle if they make eye contact. Just say no. Tell that to youngster Joey and his freaking Rattata. I'm usually against hitting kids, but that little bastard needs a beating. Star Wars. The Star Wars galaxy is super unstable and constantly at war. Entire planets get destroyed in military conflicts. Poverty and slavery are a widespread and accepted part of galactic society. Workplaces all involve running around on elevated platforms with no railings over doom pits. The core worlds and inner rim are generally controlled by either corrupt and incompetent republics, or autocratic fascist empires, and the rest of the galaxy has no rule of law. And finally, The music is gorgeous. Star Wars has nice places to visit, but not live. One Punch Man world. A monster could literally show up anytime out of absolutely nowhere and destroy your whole apartment block. Marvel. Hey, there's Hulk. He just punched an ocean-sized bad guy through my house. My dog was in there. Hey, there's Hulk. He just ate my dog. The support group for people whose pets Hulk has eaten, stepped on, scared off is so big you guys have to stagger your meetings. My Hero Academia. It's all fun and games until your quirk is Peghead. And that assumes you have a quirk. In reality you would probably just be you. No quirks, just in the world. You stay the same person, but you are just transported into the world. Now that sucks. Don't most people get a quirk though? It's just that most are useless. It would be awesome to be in the Harry Potter universe. Magic everywhere, people riding brooms, awesome snacks. On the downside you would likely experience crazy physical traumas, terrorist attacks, and have your family members murdered on the regular. Guns beat one's mate. Pokemon. As if anyone would just stop being bad and get a change of heart, because you used your enslaved creatures to beat up his enslaved creatures. There'll constantly be a power struggle, with nations racing to capture literal gods for their own use. Crime rate would skyrocket, economies would collapse. Pokemon healthcare would be far too expensive, resulting in high mortality rates for both humans and Pokemon. The Avatar universe. Sounds really fun at first, especially if your friends W the Avatar or the main characters, but think about all the times the world almost ended or descended into chaos. And remember that it was almost always due to incompetent leadership. Tenzin is the only person in that series worth a damn. A Minecraft world. Granted, that would be amazing, but imagine having to climb a beta every time you want to go up. Apart from that, life would be great. Survival. You have to live in the wild in a world where monsters are born every night. Creative. You're forsaken to live in a barren world where nobody else leaves and you have a meaningless amount of power. This one. Dies internally. Person of interest. The Fallout universe would suck if you didn't have the abilities of a main character in a video game. Canonically, you'd die pretty fast and in a painful fashion due to radiation exposure. Pokemon. Trainer 1. Oh look, a Pikachu. Can I catch it? Trainer 2. Yes, you can. Meanwhile I will plot genocide. Azeroth. Imagine getting ganked non-stop when trying to get about your day, because some overgeared person decided to solo raffle stomp an entire town for the lols. Also demon invasion and old gods living under your feet and the whole lot. Skyrim. All the magic and dragons and adventure. But then there is no interior plumbing, no dedicated area within a residence or hospitality for relief, no Wi-Fi, no baseball. It would get old quick, provided said dragons didn't fry you on day one. Star Wars. Too much drama. Oh, I'm not brave enough for politics. 3 drinks later. Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy. The Naruto verse. Living in Naruto seems cool as hell depending on what time and place it happens in, but the main thing is shinobi. Dragon Ball. Constantly getting nuked then brought back to life over and over again. That would suck. Star Wars, there's so much wars. Legend of Zelda. You suddenly appear in a kingdom setting. You explore, seeing a weird looking figure. It looks at you, starts running at you fast, and then he starts trying to hit you with a weapon. All you can find is a wooden stick. You think you might be able to defeat it, but then it suddenly breaks. You're now helpless Aegean. Then suddenly a monster 2 times your size appears, killing you. It's impossible to live in that setting unless you're Link or Zelda themselves. Pride Lands from The Lion King. Yeah, it's an absolutely gorgeous place, but imagine being anything other than a lion. Dune Universe. Unless you're Natroids, your life is dictated by people who can predict the future. Any superhero show. You won't be the one with powers. You'll be one of the nameless civilians who get killed, kidnapped, or have their home owned, or job destroyed by a giant monster or supervillain. Rick and Morty, it's like immature, but like the right kind of immature. GTA. The Pokemon world. You'd be a trainer and you could raise your own Pokemon. Downside is that everything would be constantly getting destroyed from battles. Gotham. Get caught buying drugs and end up folded by someone in a costume asking, "Where is he?" in a raspy voice. Warhammer 40k. All that hardware and Xenos to waste. But that's all it is, a bitter struggle to survive and hold back those greenskins, the forces of chaos and everything else that's determined to wipe out mankind. Even as a mere mortal, the odds of ending up somewhere nice and leading a safe life are quite slim. 40k is the worst freaking universe there is. Anyone that know anything about the lore would never willingly chose it. What? You don't want to live in horribly oppressive and overpopulated planets where you are in constant danger of being prosecuted because you accidentally violated 1 out of 4 E plus 2310 laws. Or savage hellish planets where literally everything is looking to kill you in various painful methods. Or frontier societies that are borderline lawless and are also under constant threat of attack by aliens and warp bullet. Or literal feudal societies with zero social mobility.